in the park, and everyone's so delighted for a minute.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, teams out, as you can see, for the second match, Mayo and Tyrone. Will this upset the players for the second game, do you think, Martin? Because they've been inside in the dressing room, being held back for 10 minutes now, waiting to see what's happening.
I know, they'll have been armour-plated from all of this, to be honest about it, Michael. They're in there, cocooned in their dressing room, focusing on what they have to do. And I don't think they will be in any way distracted by what happened. Like, it'll be incidental just to them, what happened out there. No, they have a massive game now. It'll be a different style. Funny enough, this is the game where we're expecting maybe a shock, where we think beforehand that Mayo have a good chance. We didn't give Fermanagh a chance at all in the last game. But no, both teams will be very relaxed, very, very focused on what they have to do, and won't be in any way distracted by what went on beforehand.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you for the moment. Now, John Mahon is back for his second stint, of course, in charge of Mayo, and he's led the team to this afternoon's quarter-final after winning Connacht. Tyrone finally reached the promised land last year under the guidance of Mickey Hart. Now, both of them have been talking to Jim Carney.
We're expecting to win. We're very relaxed. We came up yesterday afternoon to Dublin, and we did a little workout this morning, and the attitude of the players is very, very positive. And yeah, it's nice to see Croke Park looking splendid out there, and I'm sure we'll have great support here today, and looking forward to a big win.
Everything's very well with the team, I suppose, with the exception of Brian McGuigan. Brian McGuigan would have failed a late fitness test this morning to be able to go for 70 minutes. So we're withdrawing him from the start, and he's been replaced by Kieran Gurley. Apart from that, the rest of the injuries you probably know about. That's the kind of season it's been. There's been lots of injuries, but every team has to suffer that as well. So we're as good as we can be.
That's the view of the managers. This game, as I said to you, was supposed to start at a quarter. I'm not quite sure what time it's going to start now. They're a little bit behind time, but I'm sure that they'll rush things on a small little bit going into this game. Warning there for Tyrone, if they needed a warning. What can happen in these matches?
Oh, very much so. And what's ominous for them actually is, to my mind, Brian McGuigan is missing for this game, because if in my opinion, the triumvirate that need to be closed down in the Tyrone team are Brian McGuigan, Brian Dooher, and Sean Kavanagh. Now, with McGuigan missing,
and very well this year,
playing very, very well, and with Gurley coming in, all of a sudden you're losing a very creative forward for quite a stubborn back, and I think that's actually going to discommode Tyrone somewhat, to be quite honest about it.
Huge crowd up from Mayo for this.
Great crowd, great interest, great optimism there, Michael, and again they feel on the back of the two performances they gave against Galway and against Roscommon that they have a great opportunity today. And again, there's a number of players this year that are playing very well. Kieran McDonald and the Mortimer brothers are doing extremely well this year. The backliners are mature. A lot of them played here in 1997 in the All-Ireland final. 4 of the backline played in that. So I mean, it's not just a callow group of youngsters that are coming up. It's a team with a lot of mileage in the clock, with equal experience to Tyrone in many respects. The only thing that they missed at Tyrone have is the fact that Tyrone are All-Ireland champions.
The one thing though, I suppose, from Mayo's point of view, Joe Brodley, is this Tyrone team, they're the All-Ireland champions. They're not going to give that away handy, and I think people are afraid that Mayo might be crunched out of this game by Tyrone.
Yeah, well, Tyrone won their last 3 games by 8 points, 8 points and 10 points, and Tyrone people will tell you the team aren't playing that well, and that's a problem. You know, the system that they have flummoxes teams, and it leads to a lot of scores. I mean, I think that Mayo have a very strong motivation for today. They're very well rested. Mahon has shown himself in the past to be well regarded by the Mayo folk and Mayo players. The teams have responded very well. They're very fit. They've had very good results themselves. They've had a good rest. They have a very strong motivation. The story that was going around in Ulster during the week, that was printed in the Irish News, was that when the draw was announced last week and Tyrone heard they were getting Mayo, there was a huge cheer in the Tyrone dressing room. Now I understand that John Mahon has shown his players the piece of journalism, and that's been used as a rallying point, and I mean that's exactly the sort of personal motivation that will get right up fellas' goats, you know, the sort of thing that's a very immediate sort of a motivation, like the day that Ireland were playing England in the rugby and England made a shrine to English victories over Ireland in Twickenham just outside the Irish dressing room. That sort of personal thing's a strong motivation for it. I mean, I still think it's a huge ask for Mayo, but
I suppose it would have made its way to Mayo whether it happened or not anyway, Martin.
Well, I'd say so, but John Mahon doesn't need that kind of negative motivation to actually gee his troops up. They're there like on merit, and okay, that's certainly probably made its way down, but I know over the last number of weeks he's been working away with Dr. Aidan Moran up in Dublin, the psychologist. He's done everything. He's used every single opportunity he can and every device he can to get this team properly prepared. Speaking to Kevin McSay beforehand, Kevin made the point to me that this particular team are extremely fit, and I was with John Mahon on Thursday night there, and I mean he was extremely relaxed about it, really looking forward to it, and he believes himself that that he has a team that are fit enough, that are skillful enough, and if the two guys, if McDonald and the pair of Mortimers can play to the same standard as they showed in Connacht, then he believes they're in with a great chance.
Well, there's no doubt if they can play that, if they can play the kind of football that we've seen them play so far, then as Martin said.
No, it's not just as straightforward as that against Tyrone, because Tyrone will, as soon as they lose possession, their three half forwards will go into the full back line. They'll play 12 men inside the scoring zone, and it's not just one-on-one play. You won't have a chance today. Kieran McDonald won't be one-on-one against this man. He'll be double teamed. There'll be 2-3 men. It's a different sort of game that you've got to play against Tyrone. You've got to play defensively. Whenever when Tyrone's half forwards retreat back into their full back line, what they want is for the half-backs of Mayo, as you saw against Kerry last year, when Kerry's half-backs then attacked, that causes more congestion. It also means this is the second part of the Tyrone plan. First, defend in numbers. Secondly, when you break them down, counter-attack quickly. Yeah, give the ball to your full forwards who are in space.
Martin doesn't believe that's what's
that's always the way Tyrone play in every match, and that's why they're beating teams by 10 points.
That may not be Mayo style.
They will put a clutch of players, Joe, in around the centre half-back position. They'll put a line across there. I believe you have got to work the ball up to there. You mustn't try and break through the tackles. If you're going to be trying to run ball through traffic all the time, they're going to simply gobble you up. You've got to try and bypass that, and I think actually changing the ball from wing to wing, utilising the space and pumping the ball into space over that kind of congested zone.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this, that if your half-backs come forward into that zone, then when Tyrone break the ball down from you, as they almost inevitably will, they can give a long ball. Tyrone forwards like Mark Hart, Owen Mulligan, they're invariably 1 against 1, and that's what Tyrone are engineering by pulling everyone back, playing a bit. I'm saying that Mayo have got to create some sort of cloak in front of their full back line, otherwise they could easily be destroyed.
But I think it will do that, Michael, even though James Nallen's natural instinct, I suppose, is to attack with the ball. But I think they have enough nous, enough know-how to actually realise that by carrying the ball into that zone is going to leave a gap at their own back, and is going to actually maybe result in them being dispossessed up front. So I would hope to see the Mayo backs playing with clear-headed thinking, first of all, using the ball intelligently. I think intelligent use of the ball is going to be critical to the outcome of this game. And if they use it and can utilise the two Mortimers, then I think they have quite a good chance.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Our commentators in this second match are Tony Davis and first, Ger Canning.
On an afternoon when about 60,000 people are at Croke Park, and they've already seen Fermanagh, the only team never to win the Ulster Championship, come within a game of reaching this year's All-Ireland final. Let's concentrate on the second match, and the Tyrone team shows one change from that which started last Sunday against Laois. Brian McGuigan isn't started because of a knee injury, and Tyrone Gourley is his listed replacement. So for Tyrone, no Brian McGuigan, Tyrone Gourley is in. One of the Connacht champions, well, they've opted for change ahead of this huge challenge. They go for experience in goal. Recall Peter Burke between the posts. He'd been troubled with a knee problem. There's a change as well at right half, where Peadar Gardner starts his first championship match, having been used as a sub up to now. And once again, they will look to Kieran MacDonald to provide openings and to the Mortimer brothers to apply finish. Referee today is Paddy Russell from Emily in County Tipperary, who refereed the All-Ireland finals of 1990 and 1995. There's a terrific atmosphere. It's a lovely afternoon. We're looking for switches, in particular for Tyrone. I've seen that Kevin Hughes and Kavanagh are in midfield. That was one of the areas of speculation. Ger Cameron has gone on to the 40, and Tony Davis alongside me is having a quick look around and will give us the full picture. Tony, what did you see?
Yeah, Ger Cavan has gone centre forward and Brian Dewar on the other side. as you said already, Kieran Gurley's after coming in at wing forward as a direct swap with Brian moving, but gone wing forward. That's just at the start, and I'm sure they'll swap around again after a while.
Yes, there are plenty of possibilities and plenty of twists and turns as we watch David Brady looking to put Mayo in front. First attack, he's put it wide. Brady, who's a big name in Mayo football, playing today in his 21st championship match. And a man that we're glad to welcome back to the panel in the springtime, along with Kieran MacDonald, and how they have energised Mayo right throughout the Connacht Championship now into the quarterfinals. Remember, whoever wins here will be playing for Mana in the semi-final. And there you were, it was all set up according to everybody who knew anything about sport. It was going to be Tyrone against Armagh, but then Fermanagh had other ideas and blew this championship wide open. James Nallen way down towards Trevor Mortimer, taking on Conor Gormley. More challenges coming in. An enterprising ball outside towards Maloney. Brian Maloney with a very wayward kick. Could have done with steadying himself there. That's 2 attacks. Nothing yielded. And there's a Mayo player down injured. That's Trevor Mortimer. He came in for a bit of hefty treatment that time with his first attack.
Yes, sir, now that it's settling down, we can see some of the switches actually. As expected beforehand, Ryan McMenamin is gone on Conor Mortimer. And you can see Mickey McGee taking up Trevor Mortimer. They're playing a 2-man inside forward line with Brian Maloney going out the field to try and get the ball in as quickly as possible to the left-hand side.
People will wonder why Mickey Hart has not decided to start with Peter Canavan. What do you think?
If he was fit, he'd be starting, Joe. I have no doubt about that. I have no doubt that he is carrying an injury and he is not 100% fit. If he was, he'd be starting here today.
Pascal McConnell, who had 2 teeth dislodged against Laois last weekend. Fit to play, however. James Gill bending his back. And look at the swarm defence there. The so-called blanket defence. Gill does well. Resolute, determined. Early ball in, that's the way to beat the blanket defence. Mortimer lets it drop down, but recovers well. Not the best of efforts, however, and easy for McConnell. 3 attacks then for Mayo. Produced nothing. And of course it's Tyrone who have the aid of the breeze for the opening 35 minutes. Bit of a clash there. Maloney was back there for Mayo. He's playing a very deep role, Brian Maloney, wearing number 15. James Nallen now here. Had some great football this year, Nallen. Held up here by Kieran MacDonald. Lovely control onto the left boot. Teasing ball inside for Conor Mortimer. Switching across to the left. First touch not great, but has command of the situation. Ryan McMenamin is his marker. Comes back again here towards Alan Dillon. Back to Mortimer. Angling one in, got a little block. There's Hughes way back there, Kevin Hughes. Linking up with the goalkeeper. Gourley, fresh man in, of course. Brought in place of Brian McGuigan.
Even though Mayo have a lot of possession in the first 3.5 minutes, they could have actually had two points so far.
It's a bad kick by the goalkeeper straight at Ronan McGarity. Kieran MacDonald, 2 men attracted to him, trying to present a bit of cover there for Tyrone. A lot depends on Kieran MacDonald. He saw the double marking effort there straight away by the Tyrone backs. Kicked in by Joe McMahon, went off injured against Laois last Sunday. Left behind David Heaney. Breaks out well over McGuigan's head that time, or Hughes' head. Gill taking it forward, trying to get it on the left boot, and again the defenders are in there so quickly, swarming all over him. Dooher is back. Boot went in, free kick taken quickly by Patter Gardner. On for Dillon. Nicely on here for Mortimer. And there was an opportunity for Trevor Mortimer to have planted it in the back of the net, but he's content with the point here. It's taken 4.5 minutes, but Mayo lead the match.
That's the best way of beating any sort of a blanket defence, is move the ball accurately and quickly. If that was later on in the game, Ger, I'm sure he'd have stuck it in the back of the net. The opportunity was certainly there. Golden chance.
So far, it's all Mayo. McConnell's kick is a very long one. Wind support. McGarrity rising in the air for it. They fumble, but Dewar picks it up well. Then runs into the Mayo swarm defence. And Dewar lashes out there at David Brady. Something happened between them. And the referee brings the ball forward 13 metres. It's now just 45 metres away from the Mayo goal. Chance for Mark Hart to have his first shot at a point. Mark Hart with 3 goals and 20 points so far in this year's championship. Normally a very assured free taker. From the hands. Well, I mentioned the very assured, and that of course is the curse of the commentator on the poor misfortunate free taker, and Mark places it wide. Peter Burke playing in his 22nd championship match. Not the best of kickouts, anticipated well by James Nallen. Knocked ahead again towards Kieran MacDonald. Picking it up there, however, is Mickey McGee. Booted way out here towards Camlin. Operating on the 40, he's up against James Nallen. Oh, bad ball into space. Nobody there for it except David Brady. Once again trying to pick out Trevor Mortimer. Good strong running. Takes Conor Gormley way out there with him. Still Mortimer. Good work by the Tyrone backs. They funnel back well. Ryan McMenamin, jersey pulled. He's got to get a free out for that.
We were looking forward to the confrontation between David Heaney and Owen Mulligan at the start of the game, but as like everything else in football, it doesn't turn out like we planned. We have Gary Rowan marking Owen Mulligan at the moment inside in the full back line, and you have Heaney moved out the field marking Stephen O'Neill.
Rowan is a good man marker. In fact, he's one of those unheralded Mayo backs that no one relishes marking, even in practice matches. Well controlled. Dillon. Huge one down. Oof. That comes off Conor Gormley's chest, maybe the face even. Made contact with the ball. Watch it again, yes. Looks very nasty.
He must have lost it in the sun, Ger. As you can see, there's even a shadow of the ball coming down as it hit him in the face.
Two counties who met here in the semi-final of the All-Ireland. Was it 15 years ago now, 1989? You had an interest that year, Tony, still playing with Croke. You had Dublin in the other half of the draw.
Yes, that was a good year, sure.
Croke beat Mayo in the All-Ireland final, one of the good ones. Good final, that is. David Brady, great kick. Nicely over. Announcing his return to Croke Park, David Brady, the fans' favourite. Beautifully, stylishly hit. Very decisive finish by Brady. McConnell. As Tyrone trying to win their own kick out. Again they fail. Hughes brought it down but then lost it. MacDonald. He's in control there on the 40. A little bit of slipping down there by Conor Gormley. Trevor Mortimer pressing forward. Oof, Dillon was waiting for it. Sean Kavanagh was in quickly. Forced into losing it, however. Back to James Gill it comes from Mayo. Green and red enjoying a bit of supremacy here in the opening minutes of this quarter-final tie. That time it goes forward to Patter Gardner. Brady leaving it outside. Conor Mortimer dropping again, running into the group of Tyrone defenders, and Brady picks it off the ground. It's going to be a free out. They were overdoing it a little bit that time, Mayo. They had a chance of a score, never took it.
Never took it, but still good play by Mayo. Kieran MacDonald, when he gets the ball on his left foot, it's like a laser pass on into the inside forwards, and Mayo started very well.
Joe McMahon's kick into space towards Mulligan, in there against Ruan. Won there by Marquardt, laying it off well there towards Stephen O'Neill, and he's put it wide. First chance for Stephen O'Neill. Normally a wonderfully effective player in Mickey Hart's scheme of things. I just feel, Tony, that Tyrone will be unnerved by the sight of the game that went on before this, the fact that the hot favourites lost.
Yeah, of course they should look on it positively. You know, Armagh are out. There's one of their main rivals gone out of the All-Ireland Championship, and it's there for them if they want it. That's if they're good enough.
But they are the champions of 2003. Mulligan, neat turn, running into a lot of challenges. Nicely laid off. Just outside the large rectangle. Stephen O'Neill was the player who was drifting into space that time. It was dangerous, and the Mayo backs appreciating that fact. There it is again here. Just outside the large rectangle was where he was taken. And a chance for Tyrone to get their first point after just over 11 minutes. Owen Mulligan to kick this. A lot of Mayo fans behind the goal jeering him. That's the best response, however. Kicks it well, kicks it out. It's 2 points to 1. Peter Burke, who has lots of competition in the Mayo panel for the goalkeeping spot. Fintan Ruddy is the sub-goalkeeper today. It's dropped there by McGee. Coming in next was Gourley. Duher putting it nicely ahead. O'Neill taking on David Heaney, beating him well. Nice ball in here. Coughlin, little off balance as he was kicking it. He thought he should have got a 45 out of it. Shouting there at the umpires to put up the hand. He felt the back had touched it last.
Yeah, David Heaney's under a bit of pressure there at the moment. Every time O'Neill runs at him, he's kind of leaving him for dead. Now, you'd feel he'd be a little more comfortable away from the goal because he is more of a natural half-back than a full-back. But he'd want it to be tighter on O'Neill than he is so far.
Duher blocks it, leaves it there behind to Patter Gardner. Looking for support. Where's it to come from? Nallon. Bypassing Heaney. Ronan McGarity now, the basketball player. Spent 3 seasons playing in the US. Nice ball ahead to MacDonald. Good control play. Nicely down for Trevor Mortimer. Chance to link up. Who intended for his brother Connor has it. Where are the blocks? Where are the challenges? Duher is way back there. This is where they funnel back their half forwards into defensive positions, but that time a foul is committed and Conor Mortimer wins Mayo a free in.
Yes, with the type of defence Tyrone play and a player as small as Conor Mortimer, it's very hard not to follow him because of his size. Now they're getting around him and down he goes. That could be interpreted either way actually. Even though from looking at that he's standing right on top of him.
Yes, the last man on him there was Ryan McMenamin. So this to be hit by Alan Dillon. Scored a point in the Connacht final, and he's got a point here in the Bank of Ireland quarterfinals. Good kick, 3 points to 1, they're happy. And all this while, Tony, just looking at the flags and the strength of the breeze, do you think it's much support, or has it died away in fact?
It's died away now. I'd say it's very hard playing down there because the wind is swirling around the place and it seems to be changing as the game goes on.
This is a very good half so far for Mayo. Connacht champions have had their 4-week break. They look fresher, even though Tyrone had a very easy win last week against Laois. Gardner here coming through. Laid off here for Conor Mortimer, and he takes a point. They are zipping the Tyrone defence apart with their pace, their incisiveness, and they have the clinical forwards in there, like Conor Mortimer and his brother Trevor. This was good work here by Patter Gardner, laid off there for the Shrew Glenclorab number 13. First point of the game for him.
Great score, George. Kieran MacDonald hasn't wasted one ball yet. Every time he got it, it's ended up with a scoring chance. It's impossible actually looking up here. Down through the years, you think that the Mayo forwards had some sort of a genetic deformation that they couldn't score. These guys really believe in themselves and they're taking their scores nicely.
They're using their possession really, really well. That's an impressive statistic. Just looking at that attack and the other one that Trevor got a point from, they could have been goals.
Absolutely, both stem from the ball landing in Kieran MacDonald's hand. He has terrific vision to find players on the ground or on the outside of his left leg. Tyrone will have to be much tighter on him, Joe, actually.
Dermot Carlin is being prepared. And going off there is Conor Gormley. Number 31 on his back from Carrickmore. Well, they've already suffered an awful lot from injuries, and just looking down through that panel, they had 30 players last year. Right now it's 26, and they're not all as fit as they might be. And I think Mickey Hart is getting concerned about these injuries. You can sustain so many, but eventually it's going to count big time. Conor Gormley going off. I hope he can come back for his sake and the team's sake. But right now it's going to be Dermot Carlin who will come in for him. We were saying last Sunday that 3 of the 6 backs from last year are changed. And it doesn't look good at all for Conor Gormley. He's being helped away there by the physio. And they're having to make a change. Heaney back here. Linking up with McGarity from Ballina. Coming across there is the team captain Fergal Costello. Beaten, however, the other number 7, Philip Jordan. Tricked, free in. The one thing that Mayo cannot do, give away free kicks in situations like that. The Connacht champions leading by 3. Once again, it'll be Owen Mulligan who will kick this. Again, a lot of jeering trying to unsettle him. And he's not to be unsettled. Tyrone's 2 points coming from frees, both of them scored by Owen Mulligan, but the team as a whole so far not functioning properly.
Not functioning at all, actually. We were talking at the start of the game about maybe Mayo's lack of mobility at midfield being a factor. Hasn't been a factor so far. Cavan hasn't been in the game at all, actually.
It's very early stages, only 18 minutes gone, but what odds would you have given a Fermanagh versus Mayo semi-final this year?
You're talking fantasy, Ger.
Tyrone Gourley leaving it behind for the All-Ireland champions. Still only trailing by 2 points, even though they're not playing well. But they have quality players like Stephen O'Neill around, beating Peter Gardner that time. Lazily inside here for Mark Hart. O'Neill back again to Hart. Mulligan can't control it. Cavlin. Enterprising ball in. Hughes has gone way up there, over his head, however, and Kevin Hughes couldn't contain it. That's a 4th wide now for Tyrone. So just to remind you at this stage of our man of the match details, all we ask you to do, of course, is to pick your man of the match. We've got 2 premium tickets to the Bank of Ireland semi-final, plus bed and breakfast for 2 people in a Dublin hotel on the night before the match of your choice. And to stand a chance of winning 2 premium tickets to that semi-final, call the numbers we showed you. Meanwhile, in an attacking guise, we're watching Alan Dillon kick over his 2nd point. Will he be one of your candidates for man of the match? Nice sidestep, good control. He looked in command of the situation.
Good score. Again, the ball came from possession, again won by Kieran MacDonald out here on the side. Drew his man, laid it off, and a great score.
Mayo always come to Croke Park with a great deal of confidence. Sometimes that's unfounded, and their fans have gone home very, very dispirited. They have high hopes here as Kevin Hughes advances for Tyrone, however. Kavanagh, one player you really have to keep an eye on, and Ronan McGarity is trying to do so, but fouls his man. So the referee noting the foul. Little tick there against the name of Ronan McGarity.
I'm sure in the team talk beforehand, John Mohan will be telling him to make sure you block the runs of Sean Kavanagh, but not foul him like that, because the hard work was done to get back, not to foul him.
Hart, no point from one kick so far. The angle will suit him. This to put just 2 between them. He's done exactly what he had to do. And all of Tyrone's scores are from frees. 5-3. Broken down by Brady. All this while Mayo have Brian Maloney playing as a third midfielder, leaving just 2 men in there, and this is one of them. Conor Mortimer losing it out to Joe McMahon. There had been speculation when Kieran Gourley came in for Brian McGuigan. What a big loss he is. But McMahon could have switched inside. Here's Kavanagh, great run. After him there was Gill. Still Kavanagh, nicely off, but he gifted it there to David Brady. Down towards Conor Mortimer. Towards his brother Trevor. Holds it well, and he was being fouled from behind by Dermot Carlin. Trevor Mortimer is causing problems, just as he caused problems earlier on to the injured Conor Gormley.
The Mayo's passing is excellent, sure. The passing on the outside, finding the inside forwards, very accurate.
So Alan Dillon kicking from the right, from the position on the left, and that is a 3rd point for Alan Dillon. 2 from frees, 1 from play, and a very good first half from a Mayo perspective, leading by double scores. Peter Canavan has been prepared. Shane Sweeney is about to make way. So a second change by Tyrone, who, even though they're only trailing by 3 points, sense they're in trouble, and they're right. Again, there'll be some restructuring here. Ger Cameron looks like he's going back into midfield. Kieran Gourley is going back onto Kieran MacDonald. So lots of rearranging of the furniture from a Tyrone perspective. Bending his back low in there was Mickey McGee, but he's left it behind to Kieran MacDonald, a very accomplished footballer. The little block down low, but the referee says foot was used, and that was by Kieran Gourley, free to Mayo.
Interestingly, there, James Nallen has gone straight over and Peter Canavan. Although they're swapping in, David Heaney is now going in marking him.
So Heaney back, as you say, on Peter Canavan, and it's a 2-man inside forward line, Canavan and Hart. Here's Cavlin. Great ball, well cut out, good play. Going down is Gary Ruan under the weight of the challenge, and the referee's notebook is out, and he might have a word with Owen Mulligan about that. Tyrone are rattled, they need to be composed. Referee Paddy Russell with the notebook out, and I sense the first yellow card of the match.
Interested to see what kind of an influence Peter Canavan has on the game. As soon as he came on the last day, he made a huge influence.
And there were stories after that, of course, that he had had a recurrence of an old injury. That was Mulligan taking the legs from Gary Ruan, hence the yellow card. Alan Dillon has started very prominently, playing in just his 6th championship match. Captain of last year's triumphant Mayo under-21 team. They won Connacht. Kieran MacDonald from Crossmolina. 45 metres out. Beautiful strike. That's sweet as you like. He raises his hands in the air to the crowd and says, "Get behind us now." And I'm sure the fans believe that this team can do it. Already we're beginning to see the effect of the earlier result and how the favourites for the championship, Armagh, have gone from the scene, as it were, for this year, and the game, the championship, is wide open, and Mayo will sense that. Tyrone should feel it as well. Philip Jordan, a lot of football to be played here yet, taking it by Brian Maloney, the third midfielder from Mayo. Mark Hart into the corner here. They've got Canavan inside waiting for it if O'Neill can play it into him. They hold it up. The target here is Joe McMahon, made some very good headway. Ball was touching the ground. Referee says play on. Mayo living dangerously out as far as Ronan McGarity, and wisely kicking it down into midfield, where Tyrone are there in huge numbers. Winning the race here for possession is Philip Jordan. And again, the referee's notebook out, taking the name there of James Gill, just the number of James Gill. Gets a little ticking. Dangerous inside Canavan. 20 metres out, back it comes, and that ball is over the bar. Stephen O'Neill from Clonmacnoise, making it 7 points to 4. O'Neill's first point, and that's Tyrone's first point from play, and it's taken 26 minutes to produce. It's anybody's game. Mayo, in their periods of supremacy, might well need to maximise their potential in front of the Tyrone goal. And if they can strike for goals, they really will have to do so. Conor Moran fumbling. Chance to regain his wits, take it away from Peter Canavan. MacDonald, again, left boot, way into space, into the corner. Back there for Tyrone is Dermot Carlin. Leaving it for Ryan McMenamin. Again, memories of our man of the match competition. You pick the man that you think from either team is the best this afternoon in this second quarter-final. Owen Mulligan, nicely led off to Kevin Hughes. Good movement here by Tyrone. Canavan's on his left-hand side, but it's O'Neill in space. O'Neill cracking it over the bar. He had a goal for the taking. A second point for Stephen O'Neill in a row, and all of a sudden there's only 2 between them, and it's ominous from a Mayo point of view. Look at the way in which the Mayo defence was prized open, and O'Neill just chipped it over. Could have taken a goal.
That goal was on, but he did the right thing at this stage of the game, I think, just to settle him down. But again, we've seen since Peter Canavan came on that Tyrone have upped their performance again.
They've upped their performance by virtue of the fact that he's on the park. On the park right now is Ronan McGarity from Mayo, trying to breeze through. Can he finish here? Umpires look, concur, decide he can. White flag. McGarity's first point. Good response to the 2 points there by Stephen O'Neill for Tyrone. And the Mayo fans relieved again. Holding on to a decent lead of 3 points in a tight match. Beating the attempted block of McMahon. Doing well. He's happy. That's 1. Both midfielders of Mayo right now are among the point scorers. Good indication. Scoring chances for Mayo, quite good. Jer Cavlin about to hit this free, operating now in midfield to Peter Canavan. Canavan turning, looking for his first point, makes it look so easy. What a wonderful footballer he is. There's simply no denying it. As good as any player in any age in Gaelic football, I'm certain. First chance, causing consternation, neat pick-up, simple, effective and brilliant. 8-6. When Canavan's about, the Tyrone fans will feel they've always got a big, big chance. Great jump by Jer Cavlin, so good normally at winning his own kickouts. This time releasing it inside for Sean Kavanagh. Now the Mayo backs are drifting away completely. Almost losing the plot, and that's a couple of times now that Mayo have allowed Tyrone to come searing through the centre of their defence. Look at this catch again here by Gerald Cavlin. Great catch.
Yes, and he won one from the he's a great option for their kick out from Pastor McConnell as well, because he's well over his marker Fergal Costello, and it's a good win for their kick out. But Fergal Costello will have to contest even if he only breaks the ball.
But it is interesting how the Tyrone wing forwards move to right and left and leave those huge openings, which the men coming through, the runners, are pretty good at exploiting. Here's Patter Gardner. Trevor Mortimer holds it up well. Carlin is his marker, remember. Back towards Gardner again. Has a man in support. Good play. Down into the centre there. Dillon's available. Nicely back there. They're taking their time about it. It gives Tyrone a chance to funnel men back. And Tyrone have about 12 players back when they win it there with Sean Kavanagh. There's his marker for the day, Ronan McGarity. Nice turn, good little jinking run. Jersey was pulled. Still has it. Referee says play on. They might have had a free kick. Instead it's Trevor Mortimer. Holds on, just giving his backs a bit of a breather at this stage. Nicely on for Alan Dillon, showing a lot of leadership. Conor Mortimer, just 1 point so far. Ryan McMenamin is tight to him. MacDonald is available. Mortimer on his hands and knees, and in the end the Tyrone backs are absolutely furious with referee Paddy Russell, feeling that they were disciplined and that Mortimer was being invited to overhold. It's all immaterial because the Tyrone fans are the disappointed ones, and Mayo have a free in. Watch it again here. Tenacious defensive work. They felt they were being disciplined.
Yes, and they worked so hard. There was 7 white jerseys behind the ball at that stage. But Mayo have changed slightly. Their build-up is quite slow now in comparison to the way they started. And if they keep holding the ball up like that, they will allow Tyrone to get back. It's very hard to beat them at that.
Lots and lots of phases in this match, as you say, Tony. Only 3 minutes now to go to half-time. Mayo playing against the wind, leading by 2 points. Conor Mortimer to kick with the left boot. Normally a very confident footballer. Well, he might be. Great kick. Great score by Conor Mortimer. One of those players they really do look to. And the possession game shows that it's changing a bit. McGarity rising up there, breaking it down with David Brady. High challenge. Still David Brady. McMahon is in to challenge him. He's very angry, Joe McMahon. And the referee penalises Tyrone an extra 13 metres. Going nicely from a Mayo point of view. McMahon again with the left boot. Angling one in. Goalkeeper did well. Backs held off their men. And it comes out as far as Kieran Gourley. Playing in his 25th championship match. David Heaney doing well against Stephen O'Neill. Oof, it's almost lost there by Fergal Costello. A lapse in concentration, and that could be costly if Tyrone go on to get another score here. Played nicely in. Oof. You could see there that Mickey McGee, who'd come up from corner back, put his hands to his head straight away. Realised he was in a part of the field he wasn't too comfortable in. John Mohan having a little chat there with George Golden, one of his selectors. The other selector very well known to football and basketball fans, Liam McHale, of course. Oh, it's a bad kick out by Peter Burke, straight as far as Owen Mulligan. He can pop it over. Perhaps he'll go for a goal. Mulligan in 2 minds. I think he saw Peter Canavan out of the corner of his eye to his left, but he should have taken a point, I think. Costello, again a wayward kick by Fergal Costello, who'll need a little bit more composure.
Yes, that's a very good point you made there, Ger, in relation to Owen Mulligan. If Peter Canavan wasn't on the field, I've no doubt he'd have kicked it over himself. There's a little bit of intimidation with Canavan there. When he's on the field, he demands the ball.
It's back once again with Canavan. 45 metres out. Good support play coming through. Kicked up into the air. but not finished properly, however. Well, there are plenty of runners coming through the centre. Mayo are considering another substitution, possibly even before half-time, although we're nearly up to 35 minutes. Pat Kelly is being prepared in place of Fergal Costello, and I think you could sense that Costello was good for the first 30 minutes or so, gave great leadership to the team, allowed them to settle down, and now perhaps in the interest of the team it's necessary to bring on a fresh man over there.
Well, Ger Cavanagh was beating him hands up over there, Ger. In the air he was too strong for him.
2 minutes of additional time will be 3 minutes rather. Ear's not good today. So 3 minutes of added time, and we're into that at this stage. David Heaney breaking away from his right corner back position, which effectively is where he's at right now. Back again there. He's played in midfield, of course, in the championship. Played there in the 1997 All-Ireland over Gardner's head. Trevor Mortimer on towards his brother Conor, a bit high for him, over his head, but he might have a chance. The back was leaving it to the goalkeeper, and they were glad that Pascal McConnell was very vigilant and alert. They get it out there towards Dermot Carlin. Foul. Free kick. Here's Philip Jordan. The All-Ireland champions from last year being led by 3 points on a day when the favourites Armagh have gone out to Fermanagh. James Gill. Block coming in there by Kieran Gourley. And they work hard, Tyrone, really hard for one another and for the collective effort. And it's Kevin Hughes setting off, looking for another score. Last attack yielded nothing through Mulligan. So it's Cavlin this time, booting. There he is, short finish by Gerald Cavlin. His first point of the match. Crucial kick coming close to the break, putting just 2 between them. And that is his 44th point in championship football. And there's going to be a card for James Gill. It's a yellow card. So 2 yellow cards dished out by referee Paddy Russell, 1 to Owen Mulligan, and now 1 to Gill. Burke, a much better kick out this time, needed to be. Broken by Brady, but look, they're all anticipating, and they're all wearing the white and red outfits of Tyrone. The kick into space, however, not such a great one there by McMahon. Mocked up at the back there with Rowan involved and Heaney. Not the best of passes out of defence there by Conor Moran, acknowledging his mistake immediately. That's Brian Maloney. He's one of the 3 men operating in midfield for Mayo with considerable effect. Pressure on Moran again back there.
Well spotted, Paddy Russell there. But Mayo have dropped their standard totally from the start of the game, really. They were playing with great intelligence and great accurate foot passing. Now they seem to have lost composure, and they'll be glad to get in again at half-time.
Well, John Mahon will have to hope that they all believe they can win this. He's telling them 1 minute of the added time to go. Well, in reality, the 3 minutes have now been played. He wants just another bit more effort. Won't be necessary because the half-time whistle has sounded at Croke Park in the second of the quarter-finals. And Mickey Hart with a bit of talking to do to his charges. Slow out of the blocks. John Mahon will have been happier with the initial phase of the half, but then their game fell apart to some extent. They allowed Tyrone in, and for Tyrone, of course, Peter Canavan is a very big addition. He's already scored. Conor Mortimer's got 2 points for Mayo, and the Connacht champions here at Croke Park are leading by 2 points, and the half-time score is Mayo 9, Tyrone 7. And let's go down to the sideline now and join Jim Carney.
Jared, thank you. Liam McHale, Mayo selector. Liam, how do you read it?
We're delighted to be 2 points up, but we're turning the ball over far too much. We tried to set a game plan where we wouldn't be turning the ball over. In the first 10 or 15 minutes we were very strong, and then we got a little bit sloppy. I think fellas have taken their eye off the ball a little bit. But having said that, Jim, we're delighted to be 2 points up at half-time against such a good team as Tyrone.
Yeah, no, thanks for staying out to talk to us, Liam. Let you back to your lads in the dressing room. Thank you. Father Jared, nice to see you here again. We've talked to you a lot this year. Another big test for your team. Now, it was going against you at different times early on, and you brought on Peter Canavan. People might have thought maybe earlier than Tyrone would like to. You know, you looked into your deck of cards and you produced the ace of hearts.
Well, we did, but we're still 2 points behind, and we're not particularly happy about that. And worse again, we've had 7 wides against Mayo's 2 wides. But we're still not that far away. We're not happy with the way we're playing. We're not happy. We've given too much possession away. We've kicked all those wides. I think the fundamental problem is that we're giving Mayo an awful lot of room up front.
Yes, a brief word about Conor Gormley, Father. People might not realise that he looked right up into that piercing sun from what we could see.
Well, at the moment he's dizzy, and perhaps he sustained some kind of a dizzy attack after being hit by that ball. We're just not sure yet.
Fair enough. Thanks for staying on to talk to us, Father.
Okay, Jim.
Thank you. And with that, back to Michael.
Jim Carney, thank you very much. Again, Joe Brolly, I suppose Liam McKay has summed it all up there. Mayo started brightly, they've started giving the ball away, they've gone a bit sloppy. That's basically the way it is, but they're well worth their lead, but they have to keep going.
They do. They're marshalling Sean Kavanagh very well. They're taking him man to man. He's their main attacking force, and he sets them ticking up front. They're also keeping David Heaney back as a sweeper when Stephen O'Neill goes out the field. And it's worked very well. They've cut down Tyrone's scoring options. Now, they've been doing very well. Their heads were up, moving the ball very quickly from frees. They're appreciating that if there's 3 men around you, you move the ball quickly, you've got someone in space. But that has broken down a wee bit in the last 10 minutes. But, Tyrone are a hell of a side.
They are, yeah, but, if John Mahon, as he will do, goes in and says to his guys, listen, let's steady all this thing down, let's go back to the game plan, and if they can do that, they're in the right chance here.
Very much so, Michael. I think part 1 of the game plan has worked, and part 1 being they got a good start, which they needed. It's vital playing Tyrone that you go ahead of them.
Yeah,
I think you'd agree with that, Joe. So as they are not able to put their blanket defence in place from an early stage. The second thing, their talisman are playing very well. Like McDonald has had a very effective half.
Yep.
Like he's on the ball anytime the ball goes forward. He's picking out people with passes, scored a magnificent score from distance. And the third part of the plan that is working well for them is that they have neutralised Kavanagh. Dooher's influence has been minimal. McGuigan obviously is missing. Okay, they went a little bit sloppy midway through the half and started to kind of revert to type too much short ball. But overall, they'll be very happy to go in with 2 points, winning by 2 points against the All-Ireland champions. It's all there to play for. They're quite capable of winning it.
Martin, the 4 parts of the plan presumably will be to win the match. Can they do it? Let's find out. We take a break. That they wanted to do for the opening.
Well, they haven't.
They wanted to do for the opening.
Well, they haven't frozen in the Tyrone spotlight. Unlike Laois and some other teams who've come out as if they were going to a funeral, Mayo have come out to play the game. And that was a typical example earlier on where they were looking up. Kieran McDonald was very prominent. He was setting up play. And they're moving the ball quickly. They're not solo running, which is, old habits die hard in Mayo, but unfortunately they've started to revert to Trevor Mortimer's been going and solo.
Yeah, against any team, what you don't want to be doing is tapping and soloing the ball around. That's what Brady's point is just beats any defence.
Yeah,
just put it over the ball.
Exactly, Michael. It typifies what Mayo should be doing, and it typifies actually in many respects what they did early on in the game. Now, they went back to this kind of lateral play, going over and back, short hand passing, playing into the Tyrone traffic. That's the one thing you want to avoid against them. You must have an expansive game, constantly moving out of the ball from the source where there are numbers. And to be fair to Mayo, they've done it very effectively. In fact,
we picked out a point by Conor Mortimer, which I think shows just the good movement all the way up the field, Martin.
Yeah, look at it. I think Brady got that, shipped a hard tackle, but McDonald's involved. But that's a wonderful piece of vision. Again, Trevor popped it up to the in-running Peter Gardner, whose inclusion has been very welcome. And again, Conor Mortimer finished off a wonderful sweeping move.
We should have stuck it in the net, Marty.
No.
That what we were saying about, you have to take the snap scores against Tyrone. Had he attempted to go for the goal, he probably lost a chance also.
The last thing you want to do is corrode the confidence base. And if you miss that going for a goal, I'll tell you, this is Mayo coming up against the All-Ireland champions. This is Mayo who are notorious for not playing well in Croke Park. To have a litany of missed attempts would put a dagger into their confidence. And Mortimer did the right thing there. And the other thing about it there is Peter Gardner has come into this team at wing back with the express intention of marking Brian Dooher. He's done very well and popped forward effectively that time, and actually, had the main assist in that score. Very good.
There was a goal chance down the other end. 2 of them perhaps, and 1 of them for sure. O'Neill had a good chance here. Got caught sort of maybe in 2 minds. Got a point out of it. Could have been a goal.
And you sense that at that stage, Tyrone are still very dangerous. They're very good footballers. They're all competent footballers. There's Hughes, who hasn't really figured so far, but they always play with their head up, very alert. I suspect that Mickey Hart would have preferred any other of his Tyrone forwards other than Stephen to have that chance. Stephen's confidence is a wee bit brittle. If that had been Mark Hart, I have no doubt it would have been a goal. If it had been Peter Canavan, it would have been a goal. And you sensed at that stage that the Mayo heads might have gone down, because after all their good work, all of a sudden Tyrone were ahead. So it's nip and tuck at this stage. But Mayo have played very well, and they have every reason for confidence.
It's nip and tuck, and Mayo are leading this match, and they can go on and win it if they keep playing the kind of football they've been playing. We take a break. Back for the second half.
It hurt very deeply. It hurt Sean.
Then drag them apart.
Tomorrow, there's no doubt about that. The senior game, what a battle that will be. Minor match too, of course, between Kilkenny and Tipperary. You can see all of that live here on the programme. However, today we're watching Tyrone, the All-Ireland champions, behind in this All-Ireland quarter-final at half-time. Can Mayo push on and win this, Martin?
I think they can, Michael. They're playing very well. The main thing now is that they don't freeze when they have the winning post in sight. They have a 2-point win. They haven't, or a 2-point lead rather. They haven't allowed Tyrone to establish their normal style of pattern of play on proceedings. The main thing is that they don't retreat back into their shells, and that the key players continue to play with the same aplomb as they did in the first half. Like in particular, I mean, the midfield pair are doing very well. Kieran McDonald is doing particularly well, and the Mortimers are on fire in the forward line. So if that kind of group stay together, and if they stay tight defensively, they're in with a great shout.
Other side of the coin, Joe Brolly is. We've seen Tyrone a few times this year. We saw them up in Newry against Down in one of the qualifying matches. We saw them against Galway down here. And at half-time, Down had a great chance. Galway were well in the game, and the two of them ended up with an 8.
Yeah, but Mayo are a better team than both of those. Tyrone can definitely raise their game. The other thing is that you always sense that Tyrone have much more attacking power. That at any moment they can score a goal, they can score a couple of points. Jared Cavlin's playing particularly well, and he's very, very influential. They've already taken off Costello. Cavlin has just kicked a point. Tyrone have kicked 3 points from play on the trot, having been very quiet. And I mean, it's going to be a huge battle for Mayo, because Mayo played very well in the first half, and yet Tyrone are within 2 points. I mean, I don't know that it's any real advantage to be 2 points ahead at half time, apart from the point of view of confidence.
Battle is about to recommence. Let's go back again to Tony and Ger.
Yes, we are joined here in Croke Park with an attendance of 56,310. Just been given the official attendance. Very, very big indeed. I think I sold something like 59,000 tickets, but as sometimes happens, people get tickets and for some peculiar reason or other never make it to the game. They're missing a great afternoon sport. So now, who's got the resolve and the class to see themselves through to the All-Ireland Football Semi-Final 2004? It's Mayo who break first with David Brady. Straight over there to Philip Jordan. Chance to work it down as far as Sean Kavanagh. I think it'd run right through. James Nallen minding the house, being very vigilant. Oof, dangerous one for David Heaney. Did well. Peter Canavan was right alongside him. Still Heaney. That was a dangerous ball out from the goalkeeper there. Gary Rowan being forced into difficulty, but they get away and get it out as far as Ronan McGarity, who did really well on Sean Kavanagh. Kicked into space there. Trevor Mortimer. Dermot Carlin is the defender, and it's gone. The referee's having a think about this one. He's saying that there may have been a bit of a dive, but it's going to be a 45. Yes, I think the referee was indicating that the back dived into it and carried it out over the end line. His momentum carried him out. So it's going to be Kieran McDonald who will kick this. Pascal McConnell organising his defence with that left boot. Plenty of elevation. Hughes is back there, but they've got other players in support as well, and they work it away to Dermot Carlin once again. Get it out as far as Sean Kavanagh. It was Tyrone who won the toss initially and opted to play with the breeze, but now they're facing into quite a lively breeze for the second 35 minutes. Mayo pressing forward. Conor Mortimer. McMenamin is out trying to close the options open to him. Working it back cleverly. Kicked by Alan Dillon, and it's over the bar. A 4th point by Dillon. A great kick by the Ballintubber player. Having a wonderful evening here. Conor Mortimer led it up there first. Father Gardner on for Alan Dillon in the reverse angle. You can see his shot clinically dispatched over. 10 points to 7.
And a terrific score. Tyrone have changed their formation. Owen Mulligan has gone centre forward and Peter Canavan has gone full forward.
It's Canavan and Hart, 2-man inside forward line. As Tyrone try to build again with Cavlin back there. Nicely outside to McGee. Mickey McGee. Laying it off for Brian Dooher. Tyrone's captain. Back towards McGee again. Will he opt to try and point from here? Trying to go through, looking for something, getting nothing. Mulligan letting it run on, controls the situation, turning back, getting support, and that is over the bar. Good point by Stephen O'Neill. A third for O'Neill, but good work there by McGee, setting it up intelligently, laying it back then for Owen Mulligan. When he got bottled by the Mayo cover, he laid it off to Stephen O'Neill, and that's 3 for the day. 10-8. Lively match, as you'd expect at this stage of the championship. Brady breaking it down as far as James Gill. Good block there by Philip Jordan. Sting taken out of it. Runs beyond Hughes as far as McMahon. So many of these players know the opposition really well from their days at under 21 level. They met at semi-final stage last year. A couple of years back they met in the All-Ireland under 21 final itself at Markovich Park. Cavlin into space down to Mark Hart, going low to collect. Challenged by Conor Moran. Regains his balance well. Nicely in for Stephen O'Neill. Trying to sidestep his man. Good kick off the post, back down to safety. And it's Brian Maloney who's back there, reacting quickest of all. They get it away. Nice play, but only as far as Cavlin, gifting it back. Right across there, once again towards Mark Hart. Trying to turn. Good play by Hart. Not the easiest of manoeuvres, and it comes back off the post again, and this time it's gone wide. What a sequence.
Brian Maloney will have to be careful giving away possession like that, because it could have been in the back of the net. All he had to do was hand pass it over the top. Here we see the ball across. Stephen O'Neill has it, turns his man, shoots, and I think this comes back off the post, yes. And here we see Mark Hart, who's doing very well for Tyrone so far in the championship. And I suppose he's on his weak right leg, hits the post and comes off again. Is it going to be like Armagh hitting the crossbar in the first game?
The right post and left post. Meanwhile, it's Kevin Hughes leaving it for Canavan. Canavan having to work hard. Quick injection of pace, off balance. He was fouled. Push, free in. He spells danger to Mayo every time he's anywhere near the ball, and they react accordingly, and giving away frees could be very costly. Tyler Gardner, the man who's been spoken to by referee Paddy Russell.
He has no argument there, Gert. It was clear free.
Owen Mulligan will kick this. 100% success so far with his frees. Looking for his third. He's kicked it over, and there's the minimum between the teams. But the Connacht champions still lead, the champions of All-Ireland for 2003. 10-9. Peter Burke trying to place it towards David Brady. Good work, getting there ahead of Kevin Hughes. Now having to take on his man. Good support there from James Nallen. Good backup work here by lots of Mayo players. Gardner's into it, takes the challenge there from Jordan. Lots and lots of Tyrone players are there, and it spills loose to Philip Jordan once again. Down he goes, free to Tyrone. Explosive stuff out as far as Owen Mulligan, way back, as you heard earlier, playing on the 40. And the challenge comes in late there from James Nallen. It's going to be a free kick. Free to Tyrone. Watch Nallen coming in, and just as Mulligan was summing up his options, down he went. Sean Kavanagh into the corner. Teasing James Gill. Good work in along the end line here. Still Kavanagh. It opens up and the goalkeeper does well. He was fouled. Good work indeed by Peter Burke from Kiltimagh. Kavanagh had a dangerous situation on his hands here. He was trying to link up there with the number 17, Peter Canavan.
Yes, good work by Mayo overall. James Gill is picking up every run that Sean Kavanagh makes. He just forgets about the play and picks him up when they break, cutting down a lot of Tyrone's attacking formation.
Two fascinating matches at Croke Park this afternoon. Sean Kavanagh leaving it there for Brian Dooher. Kicking, looking for the equaliser from some distance. He's put it wide. That's a 10th wide now for Tyrone, and a third of the second half. And we've only played 7.5 minutes of the half. Mickey Hart calling for the effort, calling for the resolve. He's never failed in the past. Burke again trying to place it, but Cavlan drops it this time. Gill almost onto it, the other number 10 coming in there after him. That's Brian Dewar, and it's going to be a free to Mayo. Quickly take it into space. There's a chance here for David Brady to make some headway, to kick, put it over, and Mayo lead the match by 2 points. David Brady's second point, one in each half, delighting the Mayo followers who've travelled in huge numbers here, believing that this can be their day to get as far as the semi-final stage at least.
And again, the secret to the score is when they were fouled, they got up and moved the ball very quickly, not giving Tyrone time to get back.
Well, that was the benefit there of a very quickly taken free kick. It's back with MacDonald again. Good support play from James Gill. He can truck another here. Back out to Conor Morton, who can go for a goal. He goes for a point. He's got a third, and it's a glorious spell now for the green and the red. Delighted fans. So many opportunities of tearing apart the Tyrone defence. They were coming forward in a wave here. Wonderful movement, spotted the goalkeeper off his line, and Conor Mortimer popped it over with the fist. They lead by 3. Beyond Heaney this time, it comes on towards Ger Cavlan. 3 Mayo players around him, that means leaves gaps. Stephen O'Neill coming forward. Stephen O'Neill kick dragging. What a goal by Stephen O'Neill, the equaliser. In the 10th minute of the second half, it's Mayo's turn to look on and spot the Tyrone fans celebrating, and how they celebrated this. What a goal by Stephen O'Neill. It's his first goal of the season, and what a shot. Absolutely brilliant. They're level. First time of the match these teams have been level then, and it's Canavan, rocked by those couple of Mayo scores, wanting to be assertive once again. Mark Hart turning it around neatly, waiting, good support play by McGee. Back to Hart it comes again, looking for the lead now. Dropped short, taken by Peter Burke. What a game. What an afternoon of great football. We've waited until now, really, to see some good football matches that we can recall from this year's championship. We've seen some great performances. We've seen some great victories. We've seen Westmeath in particular win their Leinster title. But we waited until this afternoon, really, for 2 quality matches. James Gill turning it on again, trying to take it by. Kieran Gourley spills out again. They look for McDonough, but it's instead Alan Dillon they pick out. Beyond Conor Mortimer, racing across there is Ryan McMenamin. Conor Mortimer sticking to his task, playing a little bit of soccer here in Croke Park, not allowed. Getting the back nonetheless to James Nellen. Looks up, sees who's loose. Oh, that's between Brady and referee. Should be an Olympic event. Well, it just gets a little heated out of shot. There you go. The duffel bags, the handbags, the suitcase and everything else, but it's only hot air and a chance for the players to draw breath. Mayo 12, Tyrone 1-9.
George, this is terrific stuff. It's got everything. That Stephen O'Neill goal was a classic, made again by Ger Cavlan. Now Mayo would want to keep their heads. They're playing against the All-Ireland champions. They're doing very, very well. They'll really have to keep their heads at this vital, important time of the game.
It's got to be a throw ball after the referee was upended in his collision with David Brady. Neither of them exactly a sumo wrestler. Teams are level. 12 minutes into the second half. Kavanagh taking it down with one hand, showing determination and leadership. Out as far as Gourley and away to Mulligan. Space ahead of him. Chasing after him is Ronan McGarrity, his shadow for the stage of the game here. Kicked in, saved by Peter Burke. Coming away from goal, it comes out there towards Pat Kelly, a first half sub for Fergal Costello. Now it's the turn of Mayo to control the pace of the game, to try and control the attacking phase. Nallen and Peter Canavan, 2 of the great characters of senior Gaelic football. That's Brian Maloney. Again, it's MacDonald into space. Back there taking it is Kieran Gourley. Now Sean Kavanagh. Big, huge one down towards Stephen O'Neill, watching it carefully, and the danger man is onto it, and he was fouled. The referee has decided by David Heaney. Free into Tyrone. It's in a scoring distance. It'll be Peter Canavan who will kick it. This is it again here. 6 of one and a half dozen of the other, quite honestly, but then the leg was pulled back, and that's where the referee decided, oops, that's what you had earlier on. That's when referee and midfielder collide. Notebook is out, and it's a yellow card for David Heaney.
Yes, he pulled his togs. Now, Stephen O'Neill is having a terrific game for Tyrone. He's got a goal and 3 points from play, and he's winning quite a lot of ball in the air. He's physically very strong.
Peter Canavan has left the free to Owen Mulligan, which is a good decision, because Mulligan is 3 from 3. This to take the lead. He's kicked it left off the post again, and it's gone wide. Well, it was still in play as Mark Hart saw it, but the umpire must have decided that it went out and somehow came back in again. That's the only reasoning I have of that. This is where it came off the post, went down. Oh, yes, it did go outside. The umpire got it right. So still level. And Tyrone scoring chances, you can see, just 10 from 26. But then they are creating those openings. Mayo battling hard. Kieran MacDonald going down. Back on his feet again. Tussling there with Kieran Gourley. MacDonald taking it quickly. Bad marking. It's a reach, Potter Gardner. On it goes again. Still they go forward with David Brady. Will he pop another one? He controls it well. Keeper has it. McConnell restarting. Linking up here with Dermot Carlin. First half sub for Conor Gormley. Down as far as Stephen O'Neill. Against Heaney. Heaney has to be careful. He's on a yellow card. O'Neill, one of the great talents that Tyrone have at their disposal. Joe McMahon from Oma wants to take the free kick. Referee is going in. Umpire has seen something inside. Might be a bit of a confab in there.
Yes, there was a lot of pulling and dragging going on there. Peter Canavan was trying to make a run and they were pulling him back. Very good of the umpires and the referee to consult with each other.
Well, it's Peter Canavan who's been called across along with Gary Rowan.
What a lot of people don't realise is that it's when the guy is just about to come up and play the ball, that's when the runs are made, and the body language of the person making the runs determine where they want the ball. So most of the running is done off the ball inside the full forward line.
So a couple of cards dished out, 1 per team. And play will continue with a free kick to Tyrone. McMahon dropping it in deep. Cavalin is in there to meet it. Canavan trying to benefit as well. A couple of Mayo players trying to mind the fort, and that's the man who's just been booked there. Gary Rowan wanted to get it away. So a total of 4 yellow cards in all so far in the match, 3 of them to Mayo. This is work back here towards Sean Kavanagh. Referee saw the ball handled on the ground. James Nallen wants to take the free kick. Looking for the run of Kieran MacDonald. MacDonald so much in control. Lays it off beautifully towards Trevor Mortimer. Well, he's got MacDonald to his left, doesn't need him, tries to cut inside. Knife his way through. James Gill nicely fed ahead to Mortimer again. He started the attack, he's there at the finish, and he fists it over the bar. He's got his second point, and it's Mayo who lead by 13 points to 1-9. Ahead by 1. 17 and a half minutes into the second half. There were options, but when they fed it through for Trevor Mortimer, he wriggled this way and that, and very wisely fisted it. James Gill was involved. The reverse angle sees how much work Mortimer had to do, and he did it with great aplomb. Great catch there by Kevin Hughes. Great skill on for Dooher. Nicely inside to Cavlin. What a match. This could put them level again. It comes back off the post. That is the 4th time, I think, the post has been struck. All down at that end. All in the second half. The tail of the post. Pat Kelly. Oh, when is he going to get up? Tyrone want the ball back. Stephen O'Neill wants it released. It's going to be a free to Tyrone. Trailing by 1. The All-Ireland champions from last year have already seen the Ulster champions from this year knocked out already in Croke Park this afternoon. O'Neill gave it plenty of length but not enough distance. Burke.
Sure, I'm very surprised at Tyrone. That's the second free they've got now. They just pumped it in high into the square aimlessly. With forwards like Peter Canavan and Mark Hart, they want good ball out the side so that they can run onto it.
Aside from that great goal, they haven't really functioned as well as they've been able to. Brian McGuigan is getting ready to come in, troubled by a knee injury, so they said to us he's not going to start, but they didn't rule out the fact that he might be needed. He is. Crisis time at Tyrone. Ryan McMenamin, that's out over the sideline. Line ball for Mayo. There'll be a big cheer now, and it's Mark Hart who's going off. Big cheer is for Brian McGuigan coming on. An opportunity then for Tyrone to energise matters up front. Now, where will he play? Normally he's the link man. Might well push Owen Mulligan back up front again. I think that's what they're going to do.
Yes, he's a real scoring threat, and the farther he's out the field from goal, the more Mayo will feel safe. Now you'll have himself and Peter Canavan in the full forward line, and it's probably their most potent 2 attackers inside there.
Well, this is it. There's 15 minutes left if the champions are to hold on. They're only trailing by a point, but they're up against it, and he knows it.
Yes, Mayo are very bright inside in the forward end. They have 5 very bright forwards, but probably the best forwards they've had for years.
MacDonald ahead here. McGarrity coming through. Good stop there by Kavanagh. Just took the sting out of it, and away to Ryan McMenamin, and Dooher inevitably is back helping out. He'll play anywhere. Sean Kavanagh from Moy, a beautiful picturesque area between Tyrone and Armagh. Stephen O'Neill. McGuigan's just ahead of him. He'll try to thunder forward himself, but he's lost it. Running out of legs, and it's Kelly who gets it back. And now the turn of Mayo just to hold, to be controlled, and to work it out themselves through David Brady. So again, they build with Gardner whipping it down. And once again, Tyrone are able to pick up loose ball. They've done a lot of that. Kevin Hughes. Now, who's got that steely resolve and that cool nerve for a very tense last 15 minutes? Ger Cavlin. Here's Philip Jordan. Having to go across the field to Ryan McMenamin. Now, Mickey McGee, the other cornerback, trying to take on James Nallen. Awkward angle. Umpires look at it. It's gone wide. No joy for Tyrone. Don't forget again our opportunity for you to come and enjoy the one of the semi-finals of this year's Bank of Ireland Championship. 2 premium tickets for the semis, plus bed and breakfast for 2 in a Dublin hotel on the night before the match of your choice. And to stand a chance of winning the 2 premium tickets to the semi, that's the number to call. Choose your man of the match. Meanwhile, it's Pater Gardner, released outside to Alan Dillon. Had a great first half. Down towards Conor Mortimer. Watching him is Ryan McMenamin. He's done well. They free it as far as Joe McMahon. 3 Mayo players near him. Still kicked into the clear towards Stephen O'Neill. Having quite a battle with Pat Kelly at this stage. Kelly doing well. Kelly from Kilmaine. Peter Burke. Out to the experienced James Nallen. Playing in his 33rd championship match. Kicked forward by Dillon. into space. Maloney's around. Having gone forward, Brian Maloney, down he goes. And the free is about 40 metres out from goal. Mayo wind assisted. Man going down, Brian Maloney.
Yes, good build-up play by Mayo, and I'm sure Brian Maloney knew what he wanted from that situation.
Mayo have played a very intelligent game. They've had a lot of self-belief, and John Mahon and his selectors have to take a great deal of credit for that. This is Alan Dillon, who will kick, always does, from the left-hand side of the field, kicking with the right. He's 2 from 2 from frees so far. He's got 2 other points from play. So 4 points for the afternoon, not a bad return at all. And Mayo have an injured player, that's Trevor Mortimer. Trevor Mortimer, who spent the winter in college in Leeds, didn't think too much about football, spent a bit of time in the gym, and then was able to come back to Ireland, look forward to the challenge of playing against Galway in the Connacht Championship. And if you're not up for a challenge against Galway and you play in the Mayo colours, well, you shouldn't be there in the first place. So it was a terrific challenge, and they have gone on from that to this situation here, where with 11 minutes to go, if he can get up quickly, recovered from his injury, they may be able to add to their 1-point advantage in the Bank of Ireland quarter-finals, where Peter Canavan's team are in difficulty. Alan Dillon to kick. Very, very important kick. He's caught it well, and he's put it over the bar. Just listen to the Mayo fans at Croke Park. Thousands of them are here. Thousands more at home and around the world, saluting the green and the red, the men that John Mahon has put out on the field, and the men who are doing him proud.
Yes, a crucial stage in the game now, Ger. With about 10 or 12 minutes to go, we'll see which team finishes the stronger.
And there's going to be a change, and Conor Mortimer is going off, and Andy Moran from Ballaghaderreen is coming on.
Yes, and well done again, Ryan McMenamin. Had a great game on Conor Mortimer. Some of the ball coming into him wasn't perfect, but he is a great cornerback.
And again, the manager is showing his mettle, prepared to take off one of the star names in the interest of the team. Now, will it work out? David Heaney. Back here to Gary Rowan. Ruggedly taking it away over there. Going forward is Alan Dillon. About to be challenged by Sean Kavanagh. Support coming forward from Patter Gardner. Again, they work it cleverly into space. Gary Rowan has started it. A lot of passes. Now, can they finish with a shot on target? Kieran MacDonald. The fact that he has possession will inspire the team and give the fans a lot of confidence. That's a great pass. Dillon nicely on here. Brady's coming through like a train, and this team has a winning look about it. David Brady kicks a third. The man who was away all of last year. Missed the winter as well. But this fresh-looking Mayo side, very assertive, playing expressive football, and that's a great score by Brady. They lead by 15 points to 1-9. That's a margin of 3 points.
Great score by Brady. What a pass by Kieran MacDonald on the outside of his left foot again. Beautiful ball.
It's one of those cliches, Tony, where a good left-footed player, you always talk about an educated left boot, and somehow when MacDonald hits the passes, they always looked very precise and very special. Mayo work it out as far as Ronan McGarity, one of those unsung heroes who's had to just work and run and keep on battling all throughout the afternoon. The champions from last year are in trouble, but they have time. That's the vital stage, the vital factor rather, and they have opportunities with Jordan pulled. Now there's something that happened off the ball. Referee has blown his whistle, going down to see just what occurred there in the last couple of seconds. That's the new man in. Did you see what happened there,
No, I
Tony?
didn't see what happened, but I've no doubt if he stopped the game like that, he's definitely going to give him a yellow card, and if he must have seen it himself.
Indeed, that's Andy Moore and the new man in, and straight away his first contribution is to get a yellow card. But the referee's going in now to chat with his umpire. Well, that's that, but what happened next? Now, is the referee going to take any further action? He's calling across one of the Tyrone players. Again, checking numbers. And that is a third yellow card for a Tyrone player. And the player who was spoken to, Ryan McMenamin. Tony, did you see anything else happening out of shot at that stage?
No, Declan Sweeney's coming on for David Heaney inside in the back line.
That's number 20, Declan Sweeney. Meanwhile, it is McGee. Oh, the careless ball, and Mayo have a chance to gain possession again, take control, work it around sensibly, out as far as Pat Kelly. Again, McGarity running into trouble this time. 3 Tyrone players, they were against him. Gardner, again they play it to the wings, where there's plenty of opportunity to motor. Very busy players. Moran laying it along the line in there, and Tyrone are absolutely furious, and in particular Philip Jordan. Alan Dillon, as the player is down. It really is hotting up. What's the challenge here coming in?
Yes, I think that's definitely a free. Both of them off the ground, then he took them out of the play. Good call by Paddy Russell, and a free kick for Mayo. Mayo played that very sensibly. With about 5 or 6 minutes to go, played the ball out of their offence, very mature, didn't lose their head, worked it into a scoring position, and it should be a point here.
Mickey McGee is going off. They're sacrificing a quarterback. They're bringing on Colin McCullough. He's very much a forward. And with 5 minutes to go now, Tyrone are really in danger of losing their crown from last year. They haven't been allowed to play as well as they can, and that's a tribute to the men from Connacht. MacDonald about to hit this. 1 free converted from 2 taken so far. An important one, and he has put it wide. Tyrone are still in there, and they're only 3 points behind, and it's far from over. 3 wides for Mayo now. That was just their first of the second half. Philip Jordan for Joe McMahon. There's a Mayo player on the ground, out of shot. Pat Kelly, meanwhile, back there against Stephen O'Neill, needing to be secure. Jersey was being held. David Brady is the player who is down injured for Mayo. So concern for the injured player. But Brady has had a magnificent game, playing in the middle of the field, playing with great assurance and style. And he's been able to come forward and kick some great points. And Mickey Hart, what can he do about it? The injuries have taken their toll. I think the wear and tear to the team has taken its toll. There was an extra bit of freshness in Mayo. Even though Tyrone went out and won hands down against Laois last Sunday, they still had to go through the exercise, and mentally it must have been draining. Everybody was talking about a Tyrone versus Armagh All-Ireland semi-final. Maybe the 2 teams had begun to believe it. But Mayo and Fermanagh have had other ideas. Fermanagh are already there, and Mayo now lead, but under pressure from McMahon. Here's McGuigan. McGuigan leaves it behind, and it's away with Gardner again. Out towards Brady. Not a great kick, but it reaches Kieran MacDonald, and he's got a runner alongside him. Trevor Mortimer is there and available. And MacDonald has kicked it right into the goalkeeper's hands. And he's given Tyrone a chance to get it back, but then a good little steal. And Mayo have it back once more themselves. That's Patter Gardner, hands and knees job. There's Alan Dillon, what a great match he's played. Terrific at left half forward. Kieran MacDonald, freed ahead as far as Pat Kelly. It's looking like a great day for the men in the green and the red. Good ball forward here for the substitute, Andy Moran. Trying to free himself, inside there towards Brian Maloney. Maloney is dragged back, that's a free in. This is as good as a point. This is as good as a 4-point lead for the Connacht champions of 2004. The All-Ireland victors from last September look to be about to lose their crown, but you never know. They're not champions for nothing.
They're not, but it's very mature play there by Mayo. Down through the years, Mayo might have snatched a shot in that position, trying to get a score from an impossible angle. No, they didn't. They worked it into a scoreable area, drew the free, and it should be a tap over.
Dillon to kick. 3 from 3. 5 points is total in all. And he has put it over the bar. You can hear the cheers from Achill Island all the way as far as Croke Park. 16 points for Mayo, 1-9 for the champions Tyrone. Is it to be Mayo against Fermanagh in the first of the Bank of Ireland semi-finals later this month? Oh, in the middle of the field, gets a bit nasty. Brady's on the ground again, was trying to get up that time, and there was a tangle. Mayo have made another change, but meanwhile let's follow this. David Brady been spoken to by the referee. He's going to get a yellow card. Austin O'Malley's coming on, and the player who's gone off is Brian Maloney. Mayo leading by 4 points. Yellow card for Brady. That's 5 yellow cards now for Mayo. They have 2 minutes of added time to play, starting now. They lead by 4 points. Joe McMahon. Tyrone got to get a goal immediately somehow. McMenamin inside Carlin's forward. Anybody will do from a Tyrone perspective. Trying to get it in. Mayo trying to get men back. The blanket defence is now from Mayo. The goalkeeper's on the line. It's stopped on the line. It's taken out there by James Gill. Away, but not to safety. There's still another minute and a quarter to go of added time, and Mayo have a free kick, and they hold on to their lead of 16 points to 1-9. It's a magnificent display by Mayo. They had belief in themselves. Watch here as McCullough had potted it, and in the end it was taken up by James Gill, and he somehow got it away, and anywhere would have done. Mickey Hart looks resigned to Tyrone's fate.
Yes, and what a terrific performance it has been here by Mayo. They have 5 forwards here now that they didn't have over the last 10 years. They got to Croke Park hoping for the best down the years, but they fell down in the last quarter where they didn't take the scores. They took the scores today here, Joe.
Stephen O'Neill is about to have his name taken. Yellow the colour, and that is a total of 4 yellow cards for Tyrone, 5 for Mayo. That's 9 bookings, but it hasn't been a nasty match. It's been a very good contest. Broken down in the middle here, taken by Cavalin. There's only a few seconds to go. It's inevitably a Mayo victory. We're waiting for the whistle. Back there is Pat Kelly. 4 points in front. They have Fermanagh in the semi-final. Who would have dreamed of it at the beginning of the championship, and who would have even predicted it this morning in any of the papers, in any of the previews? But right now it's Austin O'Malley chased after there by Dermot Carlin. Mayo just want to hold the ball up that end of the field, and still the referee allows a few seconds added on. Here's McCullough from Oma, way down beyond Sean Kavanagh, spills loose. They all look at the referee. He says play away, boys. Mayo do so. Tyrone look crestfallen. They're about to lose their championship. It's had a ring of inevitability about it for some time, and it's all over. Mayo have beaten the 2003 All-Ireland champions, and they've done it, and done it brilliantly. They've had a game plan. Mickey Hart and his backroom team and his side were great champions, but today is the day to salute King John. John Mahon, along with George Golden, Liam McHale and all of the players. They've taken their energy and their talents to Croke Park. This time they were not going to be beaten. This time they haven't. And this time they've come through by a total of 4 points. Peter Canavan won his All-Ireland medal last year. This year hampered by injuries, and all those injuries to the Tyrone players were mounting up the whole time. And it is Mayo who came with energy and finished with a victory by 16 points to 1 goal and 9. Let's go down to a reporter on the sideline, Jim Carney. Jim?
Thank you very much indeed, Jared. John Mahon, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you, John.
Thank you very
John,
much.
can I just put it to you, your team took a giant leap onto the big stage here today.
Yeah, we played very well, and I just want to give credit to Tyrone. They've been a great All-Ireland champions, played with great flair. Today was our day. We came up here not to be beaten, Jim.
Fair enough.
And we played good sporting football, and yeah, we're looking forward to semi-final.
Fair enough. This is hard on you, John. Thank you.
Oh, I'd say it's not hard enough at all, Jim Carney. I think every moment of that he would savour, even all those claps in the back, I'll tell you, they won't hurt one little bit at all. A fantastic performance by Mayo, and again, as in the first match, well deserved. Who could have said at the beginning of the year, who could have said at the beginning of the day that the All-Ireland semi-final would be Mayo and Fermanagh?
Well, I thought it would be Mayo and Armagh.
Yeah.
But as I said before, I thought Mayo would win it. But I'm so pleased for every one of the lads involved. Remember, this Mayo team and this Mayo management got beaten by Fermanagh last year in the qualifiers.
That's right.
They were absolutely booed out of Sligo.
Yeah.
And they had a very difficult winter. They've just about stayed in first division of the National League.
Tyrone beat them by 15 points.
Tyrone beat them by 15 points in the first game after the late Cormac McInallen's passing. And I mean, basically, I think they've won it because they have a fresh team. They have brought back so many players, like the likes of David Brady, who was outstanding today, Kieran McDonald, who was outstanding. About 9 or 10 players played very little National League, but they had a hunger, a dynamism, an enthusiasm for that game today, and a very intelligent approach. The likes of James Gill, for example, Michael, drifted back into the back line throughout and was wonderful, I thought, as an extra defender. Now, he basically sacrificed. Would you look at that for a scene, Michael? That's magnificent. And I mean, the thing about it is, everything was kind of based on a Tyrone Armagh semi-final. All of a sudden, you've had two party poopers now who have turned the whole championship on its head.
And we feel good about it in Galway as well, so we can do that after all.
Yeah. Well, ye had your cycle, ye had your 2 All-Irelands. I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a new Mayo cycle, and they can culminate the whole thing with an All-Ireland win.
Well, I mean, this is something we were talking about earlier on, the cycle. Mahon is putting the team in place again as he did in the mid-90s, so there's a big opportunity for Mayo this year, of course, but also from here on for the next couple of years.
Well, they came in the best possible way, terrifically well groomed, as they always are under Mahon, and you can see McHale's influence, it seems to me, in the way that all of the players have changed dramatically. Heads were up, their composure in the defence, they didn't go on solo runs, they didn't solo around blind alleys. I mean, they quite rightly divined, right, if Tyrone have got 3 men marking 1 man, there are 3 men, get your heads up, get the ball to Kieran McDonald. They played a sweeper, Gill worked like a husky dog at the back. McDonald is he's just a brilliant Gaelic footballer. I mean, everything he did out there smacked of class. And generally, their whole approach to the game, the composure that they showed, particularly after the sickener of Stephen O'Neill's goal, to come back after that immediately, to put their shoulders to the wheel again, and to keep, that clear-sighted focus all the time. Now, they made just a few wee mistakes, but I mean, you'd be cribbing today if you were complaining about the way they played. I thought they were marvellous.
You would. You have to throw one thing into the factor here, and I'm sure Mayo people would agree with this. I mean, Tyrone have had a couple of hard weeks as well over the last. Mayo were fresh because they won their Connacht title and all that kind of stuff. That they're
you couldn't say that the Lace game was a hard task then.
No,
the game was
you still have to tug out. You have to travel. You have to go through it. Yeah, I'd agree with you. Like 6 days after playing the last game, it's not easy to go out again. And to be fair to them, they were good All-Ireland champions. They went out, you know, trying their best, but simply, you know, being second best in the day.
When Stephen O'Neill got the goal, we thought if there was anything in the tank at all for Tyrone, this should have put them right back in the game.
Yeah,
what a goal this was.
I complained in the first half about the fact that Tyrone would rather have seen anyone else on the end of the move than Stephen O'Neill, because his goal finishing hasn't been good.
And then he came along and scored a goal in 3 points.
Every time I say something, you know, bad about Tyrone, they tend to win the games.
That's the goal of the year.
It was a marvellous goal, beautifully taken. And in fairness to Stephen O'Neill today, he was the one Tyrone forward who stood up and took the game to Mayo. I mean, he destroyed Heaney in a situation where Mayo were really getting much the better of Tyrone out the field, and I think he scored 1-3 or 1-4. I tell you the funny thing we were discussing about Stephen O'Neill, nearly every time he has a big game, Tyrone get beaten.
That's right, that's right. You can look back in the records and you'll see that is a fact, Michael. But a couple of things about Mayo today, like, I mean, the likes of Conor Mortimer was taken off, didn't work for him. Ryan McMenamin was a little bit too sticky for him. But the fella who came up to the plate today in a big way was Alan Dillon. Young fella was on, superb all through, I thought. Like, his place kicking was composed under pressure. His points from play were very good. He asked me, think about it, how many times did Sean Kavanagh get up the field today? Why did he not get up the field? Because Alan Dillon was tracking him back, and McGarity was very good.
Superb.
And the whole time...
David Brady scored 3 points in midfield. He scored very important in the first half, and he got a couple in the second half.
Well, I mean...
You know, everybody contributed. These are the kind of ones where you have to take a deep breath and say, I'm going for this.
I would say, Michael, that if you looked at the majority of Mayo's scores, they started somewhere with Kieran McDonald. I mean, he was the genesis of those moves.
And Dillon in that too.
See, that sort of movement, coming up late, striking the ball over the bar from long range, that's one way of flummoxing this blanket defence, because that depends on players trying to burrow their way through with their heads in. I think that was a big problem with Conor Mortimer today.
That's right.
Unlike the rest of the Mayo lads who were always looking up, always looking...
He was trying to take on too much on his own,
in
difficult situations. But Brady deserves mention too. Brady and Vaughan had a bit of a falling out a year ago. And Brady wasn't on the championship team last year. And there was...
Can I just stop you there for 1 second, because we mentioned Alan Dillon. He's the man of the match we're talking to.
Good stuff.
Alan Dillon, you've come in from the mayhem that's outside. The emotion is just unbelievable. It's almost as if it's an All-Ireland final. There are thousands and thousands of Mayo supporters out there. It's a sea of green and red. And, you know, Mayo are back on the big stage.
We've worked hard now the last 5 or 6 weeks since the Galway game, you know, and hopefully, or luckily enough, the hard work paid off, you know, and just delighted for the supporters to come up, you know. We could hear them throughout the 70 minutes, and, you know, it's for them and for us, like, and, you know, hopefully now we can go on from here.
Alan, you beat a great team. How did you do it?
You know, we dug deep there. There was periods in the game like that, you know, you had to question yourself, but like, fair dues to the boys, you know, we rallied on, you know, we got the points when we needed them, you know, and we stuck it out.
Well, it's a team game, Alan, but there's always one star that shines just that bit brighter, and today it's your turn, because it's our pleasure to say that the RTE Man of the Match award for today is going to you, and Donald Flynn, regional manager of Bank of Ireland West, is a very, very proud Mayo man right now to present this award to you. So Donald, it's all yours.
Fair play, Thanks very much. Well done. Thank you.
And
Thanks, Jim Carney, a Galway trophy for a Mayo man. There's nothing at all wrong with that. Now, by the way, Dervla Murphy was our winner of those tickets to the big games here in Croke Park. Dervla from Fermanagh. That was in the first match here today, of course, between Fermanagh and Armagh. And Sheila Lally from Mayo will also be going to one of these big games. And Mayo will probably be playing in that, you know, Sheila, as well. So congratulations to all of you. That's it for now. Thank you very much to Martin Carney. Congratulations to Mayo once again. And to Joe Bradley for joining us. I'll be back again tomorrow. It's hurling, of course, tomorrow, the first of those All-Ireland semi-finals. It's Kilkenny and it's Waterford. It's going to be another humdinger.
The Bank of Ireland Football Championship. When you need a number in a hurry, call Aircom 11811.
Hello and good evening. Some pleasant summer-type weather across Ireland today, interrupted by the odd passing shower, but the weather quite unsettled across northern Europe, with shower cloud for central and eastern parts, and also some heavy downpours today in France and northern Spain. Now tomorrow will bring some cloud and rain to the northwest of Iberia, with thundery showers for northern Spain and also for central France, but sunshine all the way from the southeast of Spain into Italy tomorrow, and the weather tending to settle down right across the region as we go into the early days of next week. Temperatures reaching